Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a part of the series of the Bring Them Home series, an episode of the series. There we go. And today is going to be on Crystal and Tymich. I think I may be saying the last name correct because I did find family on Facebook and the pronounce the last name, that's the way it said. So we're going to go with Tymich. Apologize if it is incorrect. Before we get into this video, as always, I mean no ill will or negative anything, no negative energy, nothing toward the family or anyone involved. And I did not reach out to the family. I don't like to reach out to the families before I do a video, just simply because I don't want to bring any bad memories or anything like that. I want to put awareness out into the world of these missing children. This one, as always, I gather all of the news articles that I can find and put it into one video. So I do suggest that you do your own research as well, and if anything that you find is different than what I have, please let me know. Because like I said, I just do this to bring awareness to the issue at hand. So let's get into it. So like I said, this is on Crystal and Tymich, and she was 6 years old at the time of her disappearance. She was born September the 23rd, 1987. So this is a little bit older case. I like to do those just to bring back awareness because most of those have gone cold at this point. She was born in Los Angeles to Jane and Mario Tymich. Now, it was said that Crystal was a very high-spirited little girl. She loved playing arcade games and video games. She was very friendly. There wasn't a lot of background that I could find on her. That's pretty much all that I could find. I mean, I did find Facebook accounts for her family. They do have a Facebook account for her missing profile, basically. And they share on it, occasionally, and try to bring awareness as well. But all in all, she seemed like a normal 6-year-old little girl. Her parents were separated at the time of her disappearance, so she would split her time in between, custody basically with her mom and her dad. Her mom lived, I do believe, in Santa Monica, California, and her father, Mario, lived in Hyde Park in Los Angeles. June the 30th, 1994 in South Los Angeles. Crystal was out playing with her older brothers. There was a few discrepancies. They said that they were riding bikes. They said that they were stopped by a peach tree. So I'm just going to go with kind of putting them together. They were out playing, riding their bikes, and they had stopped off at a peach tree to pick the peaches and throw them because, they're little kids. And they would throw them over a house. I don't know which house. I don't know if it was their house or their neighbor's house to see who could throw it the furthest, Typical little kid stuff. I mean, understand the adults probably don't like that, but they're kids. They were stopped off at a nearby neighbor's house with a peach tree. This was at the 6,000 block on Hyde Park, where the father lived. So while they're doing this, the neighbors did see, that they were throwing, they were picking the peaches and throwing them. That, at least that's what some of the articles did say. Then the grandmother to the children started calling them back so that they could start a movie. They were going to watch The Lion King. And oh yeah, good choice, by the way. One of my favorites. But anyway, after the brothers heard the grandmother call for them, they all took off on their bikes to go home. And also more discrepancy of the articles is that one, they stated that they looked back after they started, heading toward home, and Crystal was no longer with them. And it also said that the boys went into the house and Crystal didn't come with them. The grandmother went out to call for her and she had disappeared. So there's a little discrepancy. I don't know if they all took off and then looked back and she was gone in a split second, or if it was a little bit later and the grandmother came out to call for Crystal. So there is an unknown length of time. The time of disappearance listed was 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So in between those times, maybe she did stay out a little bit longer. I do know that the family did search for her for about an hour, and then they called the police, did their typical perimeter search. And please excuse if you can hear the loud thumping. My kids are upstairs and apparently they're at a jump park. I don't know. Sorry. Let's get back to it at hand. So the police did their search. didn't find any evidence. There were no footprints. No one heard any screams or anything. The only thing that the neighbors did say was that she had wandered off a few times and she was always brought back to her brothers. So that kind of shows how friendly she was and hopefully how good of a neighborhood it was. But you can always have that one bad apple that kind of ruins the whole entire bunch. She was going in and out of houses, playing with the other neighborhood kids and eating candy. And it was said that the neighbors would keep an eye on her, and they didn't see anything suspicious at the time of her disappearance. And also, like I said, they didn't hear anything. Nothing has happened from 1994 to about 2005. Now, in 2005, it was reported that there was a suspicious burial that took place at the time of Crystal's disappearance. There was a neighbor. She was a female reverend that lived, I guess, across the street or down a few houses, and she would invite neighborhood kids in for religious services. That is a little, I get it. You want to share your religion, but it's just a little odd. But she was said to be friendly. In 2005, they did search this premise. They searched the house and the crawl space. They did find animal bones. Now, like I said, the neighbor would invite the children in for religious services. So there were no human bones found, but there were bones of dogs, or a dog at least, and fish. And get this, a cow. That one is a little, like I said, it's a little off in my head. I'm using my hands. Okay. Anyway, and this is the house that the Reverend lived at. This is just me alone, my opinion, but I don't know what type of religious service or religious background that she had. If you're into theology a little bit and follow a little bit of other religions, then you probably are well aware that some require sacrifices. So maybe that could be why there are the cow bones. Because, you could get, I guess, a fresh cow from the butcher and eat that meat and then throw away the bones. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I still think it's odd. Also, me only, coming from a very interested crime scene, crime investigation, I'm interested in it, and I really hope that the police and the FBI did search underneath the animal bones, because that, we all know that is the best way to throw off a cadaver dog, is having the dead animals on top of the human remains. Now, I am obviously hoping that this is not the case, not the outcome, because just as the family, I would love for her to be alive as well, but I hope that isn't the case, and I hope that they did search underneath the animal bones as well. I'm just thinking out loud, so like I said, I mean no ill will for anyone involved in this case. It is unknown if the female reverend was questioned, but surely everyone in the neighborhood was questioned, including her. Ever since, there's been no other evidence, no other tips that have brought anything to life or any worth a search, I guess. So it's been a cold case. Although the family obviously hasn't given up, they'd still try to get the word out there to keep her name out there and her photo, just as I am, trying to get awareness of her disappearance out in the world, in case someone knows something. They have started a Facebook page, and they do continue to post on it sporadically. They continue also to live in the same house today in Los Angeles. So that is why, for their privacy reasons, I will not be posting a picture of the house, just in case I don't want people to visit or take it into their own hands or anything. At the time, on June the 30th, 1994, Crystal was 6 years old. She had blonde hair, hazel eyes, and again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 4 feet tall and weighed approximately 60 pounds. She was last seen wearing a pink t-shirt, shorts with a floral print, and tennis shoes with a picture of a mermaid on them. Both of her parents have done interviews. That's kind of where I found out a little bit on her background, was from her mother. Her father did an interview as well after Crystal was chosen to be placed on a plumber's truck that was trying to gain awareness of missing children. Placed her face, obviously, in her missing poster on his truck. And it was really sad. He stated that the family have, at least at this time of the interview, and it was several years after her disappearance, but the family hadn't celebrated birthdays and Christmases because they didn't feel right that she wasn't there to celebrate with them. So that's sad. I mean, I totally get it. But I know I think there's at least 3 brothers. The names I did not include in the ages. Sorry about that. But she was with her 3 brothers at the time of her disappearance when they were riding bikes or throwing peaches. But they were ages 12, 10, and 8. Not sure of the order, but I think it's Michael, Sean, and Jeffrey. Please do not bother them. I'm not doing this video to gain any recognition or anything from them. I'm just doing this video to bring Crystal home, or at least bring some type of closure for the family, because I couldn't even imagine. She would be, I do believe, 33 this year in September. Now, I did find an article, or maybe 2, that there were possible sightings of her in 1995, but there wasn't much to go on. It was said there was possible sighting here, and that was it. That was it. I think one of them might have been at a library, but there was nothing to back that source. So I just kind of thought I'd put it in at the end here, just in case. Maybe she is still out there. Now, I typically don't do the possible theories here, but I pulled this from Reddit. I don't know, because there's not a lot of information on this. Now, I want you guys to know that these are not my theories. I will tell you what my theory is. Now, one of the theories is that this was a crime of opportunity. Either when the brothers turned their backs whenever they were riding away and they abducted her, not the boys, but someone abducted her just in that time frame, that would have had to been very swift and just waiting for the opportunity. Or it could have been that they did go inside the house, and when they were gone and no one was there, that was the opportunity to take her. There was also a theory that she ran away. This hasn't been confirmed, but it was stated at some point in time that she had mentioned she was going to run away. She was 6 years old. I mean, I'm sure there are very brilliant and very capable 6-year-olds, possibly, but most 6-year-olds could not survive, obviously, this long without help on their own. So I don't believe that one. The third theory is that, since the parents were divorced, that is a lot of the times the abductions are from the other parent. But I don't feel that that is the case, because both of them were doing interviews, both of them are out there still searching for her. So I really don't think that's the case here. One of them takes the child and runs. Now, this is the one that I believe. One of the neighbors kidnapped her. I don't know who this female reverend is. I'm not saying it's necessarily her, but she's a little suspicious. Now, in 2005, the reverend did not live there in 2005. So I don't know if she was still living or not in 2005. Unfortunately, Crystal was a little too friendly. I know that's a good thing, but it's also really, especially in this day and age, it's a really bad thing for a little kid to be friendly. They have to know stranger danger. But I understand she lived, at least occasionally part-time, at this residence, so she may have known all the other neighbors. But just because you know someone, you don't really know someone. I mean, what comes to mind is the Castro, I can't think of his last name, where he abducted the 3 girls and kept them in the house for 10 years in Ohio. Neighbors didn't suspect it, and he even went to barbecues. They didn't suspect anything. I mean, that could have been the case. You don't really know your neighbors, unfortunately. It's not like the old times where, I mean, you hang out all the time. It's kind of like, hey, how you doing? But this was in 1994, so it could have been different. They could have all been like really, really good friends. I don't know the situation here, but that is unfortunately what I believe, is that a neighbor had kidnapped her. There was only one theory out there, one comment out there that stated that possibly the brothers had a little bit of accidental foul play or something, but again, I don't believe that one is either. I am just putting out there what the theories are when there's talk. Unfortunately, you can't control what everybody thinks. Anyway, I'm rambling. That is kind of all that I have. If you do know anything on this case about Crystal and Tymich, or anything suspicious that occurred around or on June the 30th, 1994, please contact the local authorities. Now, in this case, it was Los Angeles Police Department. The FBI also was in on it. I'm not sure how they do, if they kind of just turn it over to the police department since it's a cold case, but there's not a lot of information on it. Unfortunately, that happens with the older cases, and I don't have access, obviously, to the police reports and the investigation reports, and I don't reach out to the families for just sheer reasoning of not to bother them. But this is what I know, and I hope maybe someone else out there knows a little more and can share that and bring closure to the family. So until next time, I will see you guys.